Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. And I'm just going to give it 2 minutes for Facebook to notify people that we're here and kind of make this video visible. Good morning. Okay. I just want to try to post this on your page. Mr. Harry, I think you have some privacy on your page. I'm not able to do that.
So no, I think I've maxed out my followers.
Okay. I was trying to post a video on your page. So you might have to get it from my personal page.
I rarely use Facebook, so I'm not very.
That's fine.
I'm not Facebook savvy. I don't use it, so I don't really know what might be missing. I don't even know the first thing to do.
Okay, great. Yes, I would have put it on your page, but hello, Dee. Thank you so much for joining from Virginia. It's not allowing me to do so. I would have done that for you. So I think there's some kind of security.
Try that again. I think
it should work now.
Yeah, just try that again.
Okay, just 1 second. Okay. No, not yet. Yeah, it wouldn't let me do that. So maybe we might have to do it right after the session. Okay. Okay, so good morning, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. This is the Civilized Presence, and you are in the right place at the right time. And if you can hear me, just give us a thumbs up. I can see a few people jumping on. But if you're not on my personal page, I might not be able to see you directly. Good morning, Success from Florida. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you. Yes, it's such a pleasure to see you this morning. It is Monday morning, and it is kind of hot here in Virginia. So I want to believe that we're still enjoying the summer here. But I know that in Canada, they're already seeing the snow. So that's not too good for my viewers from Canada. I hope you can make it to work pretty soon and be part of this session. So thank you so much for being here. So this is the Civilized Presence, and we are here every Mondays and Fridays at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. But for the month of October, our time has just changed to 8 a.m. Eastern Time because our viewers, the best time to get them is 8 o'clock. And this session is for you. We've been trying to switch back and forth with the timing just to make sure that we can get everyone on. I do know that we have a lot of viewers from different parts of the world, so we have to consider the time difference, and this is why we have changed it to 8. So welcome, to Civilized Presence, and this is the 47th session this morning, and I am so excited, and I really do appreciate all of you for making it here. I'm so grateful that you're joining me here every Mondays and Fridays. If it's your very first time, that's fine. You're in the right place. For my sisters and brothers from Nigeria, I want to say happy independence. And I do hope that you have a great celebration today, just moving forward. So if this is your first time, what we need you to do is really to comment in the box below and just kind of say hello. Give us a thumbs up, some love. I know that we're not used to this time, so we'll get used to it. I know we were going to have people jumping on in a couple of minutes, yes, because usually it's 8:30 or 9:30, but it's going to be 8 a.m. for the month of October, and this is what we're going to be doing. So if it's your first time again, I want to talk about this session. This session started in the month of April the 26th to be very precise. And the main focus really of this series is to help restore civility in our community and our society through meaningful conversation. And I've been doing that with a lot of experts and leaders from different parts of the world. And it has been fun. We've been paddling along, and we are session number 47 today. So I'm really grateful. So if you've never met me and you don't know who I am, my name is Louisa Akaiso, and I am a certified master civility trainer, a golden rule civility statesman, and a leadership expert. And if you want to know what I do, I work confidently with leaders and professionals that place great importance on themselves and their reputation. And that's going to be you this morning, because you made out time to be here with us. That means so much to us that you had to hang out with us on a Monday morning when a lot of people are quite grumpy to get to work, but you did hang out with us. So thank you so much. So for today, I don't know how many of you have seen the flyer, but we're going to be doing something really fantastic. Now, let me just do a recap. For the month of September, we have been working with a lot of entrepreneurs, everything that's related to entrepreneurs and professionals, and it has been great. I have been trying to get Mr. Harris, and I really want to appreciate you for making out time to be here with us out of your busy schedule. That you're here with us. And so we're looking forward to just grabbing and absorbing all the great contents that you're going to be sharing this morning. So if you're here, go grab your pen and paper, get your cup of coffee or whatever you want to drink this morning. It's time to learn. Mr. Harris is in the house, and he's going to be dropping some great nuggets. And Mr. Harris, it's important that I let you know that we've had really great feedbacks. As soon as I put the post up, a lot of people were sending me messages from Nigeria and said, "Oh, Mr. Harris is going to be here." I said, "Okay, this is great." So we're ready to have fun today. So we have been doing this since the month of April, like I said, and really what we've been doing is breaking it down into little bits and get people to see how easy and important it is for us to be civil. And we can do this by beginning with tiny things like saying please and thank you, or even good morning, or it's so great to see you today, just like I did to Mr. Harris. Just getting in the habit of being responsible to ease the experience of the person next to us. Hello, Yvette from Virginia. Thank you so much for joining us. Yes, it's so great to have you here. Hello, Esther. Thank you so much for joining us. Hello, Izzy from Canada. Thank you so much for joining. Hello, Charles from Ghana. Thank you so much for joining. Hello, V. I'm not sure where you're joining from, but thank you so much. Now, all the other people that I'm seeing coming on the screen, I cannot see you directly if you're not on my personal page or on So Unique Experts. Maybe you're just grabbing this from somebody else. So please comment in the box below. Hello, Mr. James. Thank you so much for joining us from Virginia. Yes, that's another Nigerian. So happy independence. It's so good to have you in the house here. Okay, so getting to what we have for today, I have to first of all share, which is our tradition, the definition of civility. And I've chosen the one from Civility Experts to say that civility is a conscious awareness of the impact of one's thoughts, actions, words, and intentions on others, combined with a continuous acknowledgement of one's responsibility to ease the experience of others, example through restraint, courtesy, and a consistent effort to adopt and exhibit civil behavior as a non-negotiable point of one's character. So it is non-negotiable, guys. We just have to, it's so important for us to be civil. And like I just mentioned, we can start by taking on little steps and little gestures. If you've never been civil before, that's fine. You're in the right place. As soon as you're done with the session, try to do something that you've never done before. Maybe it's just saying good morning or just saying hello to the person next to you, or even just smile. If you didn't want to open your mouth, that's fine. But together, we can build a community of like-minded individuals. And so if you want to take something away from this session and you think that the definition was quite long, I want you to remember that civility is focused on positive people's treatment, being responsible, paying attention to the person next to you, apologizing honestly if you have to, and refrain from having idle complaints. Okay, so there's simple things that you can begin with from today as soon as we're done with the session. So now let me go to what we have for today. The topic of today. Hello, Ani. Thank you so much for joining from Nigeria. Thank you. I think it's a holiday in Nigeria, so we're going to have a lot of people from Nigeria today. Thank you for being here. So the topic of today really is repositioning your business for growth using civility. So let me go ahead and just introduce our special guest for today. His name is Steve Harris, Coach Steve Harris, and he's on social media. You could have seen I am Steve Harris. Steve Harris is still the same thing. And he is fondly called Mr. Ruthless Execution. I thought that was cool. And he is privileged to be a trusted authority in the fields of life and business strategy. He's a highly sought after management consultant and chief executive officer of Education. Thank you. Please forgive me. I'm going to get it right the next time. Okay?
It's nothing to forgive.
Yes. Okay. So he's also a motivational speaker, and it's important that you know that he's an author, and he's also a certified member of the International Coach Federation. He's a member of the Life Coaches Association of Nigeria. And in July 2011, Mr. Steve Harris was recognized by the United Nations as a young ambassador for peace due to his increased impact, inspiration, and selfless service to the Nigerian youth. So congratulations, Mr. Steve, and welcome. Can you just take an opportunity to say hello to the audience?
Hi, everyone. But first off, thank you very much, Louisa, for the very kind invitation. I know you've been very patient with me and my schedule, going back and forth to see how we can make this work. Thank you for being very patient with me. I do apologize for the seeming back and forth, but my schedule is absolutely crazy. I do have another event today, but yesterday, like I told you, was my mom's 60th birthday celebration. So we were with her, and I am absolutely tired right now, but my word is bond. I got to keep my promise. So hello, everyone, and good morning, depending on your time zone. Good morning in Louisa's time zone. Good afternoon in Nigeria's time zone. And wherever you are, I'm just going to leave it and say good day. And thank you so much for being a part of this event. I can't wait to get started.
Thank you so much, Mr. Steve Harris. Absolutely. I know it's going to be worth it. And people from Nigeria, I do not forget that it is Independence Day. And that's why I have the green on, just to be, doing the same thing as you are today. I'm celebrating with you, and I'm so excited. I hope you have your green flag flying everywhere. And I can only imagine how much celebration is on the streets in Nigeria at this time. So we'll just go back to the session here. And usually how this goes, Mr. Harris, is really just questions and answers, and we get the conversation started. And sometimes we might have a question from the audience, and I would be happy to put that on the screen for you so that you can have access to the questions. So my very first question for you today would be, what does civility mean to you, please? Over to you, Mr. Harris.
Well, for me, civility simply is courtesy. Civility is respect. Civility is the golden rule of, doing unto others the same way you would have them do unto you. It's, treating people well, treating people with respect and regard, irrespective of their social status, their economic standing, tribe, religion. It's just, it's just being a good person. It's just being respectful and reverent of other people's feelings. And I think everyone should be really big on civility. Absolutely.
Thank you so much. Thank you for that response. Yes, the golden rule is something we talk about all the time. Treating others the way that you want to be treated. It's a great place to start, especially if you've never been civil and you're still struggling with what the definition of civility is. It's a great place to start by treating others the way you want to be treated. The question you should always ask yourself is, if I were receiving the same treatment, how would I feel? It's always a very hard question to ask yourself that. And that's when the reality and of course at the moment of truth comes up. You realize I wasn't doing the best thing. I could actually try better. I could change things around. And so thank you so much, Mr. Harris. Now, Mr. Harris, with the experience that you have as a business coach, and of course, I know that you do a lot of work with the corporate in Nigeria and also with a lot of entrepreneurs on a one-on-one basis. Please explain to our audience how entrepreneurs should go about creating a marketing message that would resonate with their customers. Over to you, Mr. Harris.
All right. It's a great question. I always tell entrepreneurs that irrespective of whatever business you're in, you're primarily in the business of education. And what I mean by that is your job is to educate your customers about the value you add. Your job is to educate your customers about the problems you solve. Your job is to educate your customers about how what you do can add value to them. Now, when you have to create a compelling marketing message, one of the things you need to be able to do is first off, define exactly who your customers are. Now, unfortunately, for many entrepreneurs and business owners, their customers simply are just statistics. There's some random Joe on Facebook or on Instagram or on Twitter, and they have what I call, or what Nigerians would be able to relate to. We have what we call a anywhere belly face mentality. Right now, for those, of course, who might not be Nigerian and may not understand the parlance, it's more of a situation where just wherever you find yourself, just go ahead and do what works. So we have this machine gun approach to marketing where it's like having a machine gun and you're just shooting and firing, hoping to hit something. Unfortunately, most entrepreneurs have that scattergun, machine gun approach where they're shooting blanks, hoping to hit something. They're marketing at everyone, hoping to hit someone, eventually hitting no one, right? Right. As opposed to having a more strategic approach of what I call a sniper's approach to marketing, which is where you've targeted exactly who you're trying to hit. You're not trying to hit everyone. You're just trying to hit one person who looks like your ideal customer, and everyone who fits into that, avatar is your customer. Now, so one of the things that I think will be instructive for everyone who's watching and listening, and hopefully they're taking notes because you're getting this free because Louisa is amazing. Yeah, so if I
appreciate that.
Yes, so you better take notes, right? Because apart from this, you're most likely going to pay for it. But I'm hoping you're taking notes. When it comes to marketing and creating your messaging, one of the questions I always ask people is to describe in detail who your customer is, right? What's her name? Where does she work? How many kids does she got? Is she married? Is she single? What's her earning power? Right? You need to be able to get into the mind of your customers. And what I always suggest is, sketch it out. So if I was going to do this, and I was going to describe, for example, my ideal customer, I need to put a face to that person. So I'd say, and putting myself in the mind of the customer, I'd say, for example, hi, my name is Louisa. I'm in my 30s. I'm married. I've got kids. I totally love helping people understand the concepts of etiquette and grooming and civility. But I understand that the people I'm trying to reach usually don't understand why this is important. Right? They just go ahead, have no regard and no etiquette for, or let me rephrase that. Let me rephrase that again. Let me do this all over. So my name is Louisa, and there's a lot of feedback in the background. I don't know if it's me, but I don't know. But let me.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yes, it is my office, and
okay, cool. No worries. It's okay. Right. So if I was to get into the mind of the customer, I'd say, hi, my name is Louisa. I get so frustrated when people are just. They just are so disrespectful, and they have no sense of grooming. They have no sense of etiquette. They have no sense of composure. And it's so frustrating, particularly when I relate with my customers. I really wish I could find someone who can teach my customers or to teach people how to become civil. Now, what I've done with that, description is I've gotten into the minds of the customer. I've become the customer. I've identified the problem that my customers have, which is, for example, not being able to be composed, not being able to understand respect, regard, and etiquette, and how they need someone, in this case, you, who can help them solve their problem, right? Give another practical example. So let's say someone here on the broadcast is into, styling or clothes, right? And she's probably, this person is probably a designer or tailor who caters particularly to, let's say, plus size women. If she was to do this avatar, this marketing message, she would say something like, hi, my name is Ronke, or my name is Allison. Or let me use Kate. So that's Kate on a Kamaya. I can see her on the broadcast. So let's use Kate, right? So, hi, my name is Kate. I'm 37 years old, right? I've got 2 kids. My husband works in the Chevron area of the Lekki Peninsula. And I've had 2 kids, but unfortunately I've realized over time that I don't exactly have my sexy body back, and having 2 kids has made me put on the baby weight. And while I'm very fashionable, I find it very difficult to find tailors or designers who can make stuff for women who seem to be plus size. I'm a size 16. Most clothes that come in my size are very frumpy. There are many times they look like sack bags. But I'm a woman of style, and I can't seem to get any designer who can, design clothes for me that, while they don't, so to speak, display my plus size, but they're very stylish. I really wish I could find someone who could design something snazzy for me that would still make me look beautiful, even though I'm a size 18. That's exactly what you need to be able to do. Now, once you are able to identify this customer of yours, then that you're marketing to, so to speak, plus size women. So when you're marketing to them, you're talking to them from the perspective of the challenges that plus size women have. You're not saying, oh, buy my stuff, size 16. No, you're talking to this exact woman who's a size 18, who you recognize her issues are being able to find the right clothes and the right fit and the right style. And so you're talking to that person like a real person, such that when this customer of yours, when Kate hypothetically sees your marketing, she's like, oh my God, you understand exactly what I'm going through. And you know what, I got to buy from you, right? Which is why it's imperative that most entrepreneurs need to learn how to be able to communicate the value that they deliver. Unfortunately, too many entrepreneurs just go into the whole buy my stuff spiel, but they don't know how to, communicate the value they add. So I hope that was a long answer for a short question. I'm sorry.
No, that is fine. And I love that you had, you took the time to break it down. And this is what we aim to achieve every time that we have a session, that people can grab content that they can use right away. And I think that was great content even for me. I'm going to have to listen to this session again. And so thank you so much. I really do appreciate that. And let me just say hello to some people in the audience. Hello, Barrister Emmer. Thank you so much for being here. Hello, Kay. Thank you for being here. Hello, Jiva from Malaysia. Thank you for being here. Hello, Beth from Kenya. Thank you for being here. Hello, Alfred Jill. It's so good to see you. Thank you for being here. And I would just appreciate it if we can have people kind of like just leave the comment in the box below and just let us know exactly where you are joining us from. I really do appreciate that. Thank you so much for being here. Okay, so I'm just going to go on to the next question. Yes, hello. I can see people jumping in, but I cannot attend to that. We're just trying to get this done with Coach Steve Harris because he has limited time, guys. So yes, so we have to use this. Thank you, Kate, for that contribution. So my next question for you, Coach Steve, is that, of course, looking at the topic for today, which is repositioning your business for growth. And so I do know that everyone that's on this platform right now is very interested in adding this content and value to their businesses already existing, or there are some newbie entrepreneurs that are here. Of course, you're in the right place. And I would just mention that if you do have any questions, please leave it in the comment box below, and I'll pass it on to Coach Steve, okay, as we're moving forward. So the very next question is, how should entrepreneurs communicate the value that they offer to their customers? Because I know that you were talking about communicating value just when you were giving us your first contribution. How can they do this? So let's assume that we have newbies in the house. Let's just assume that. How can they communicate that value that they offer to their customers? Over to you, Coach Steve.
Well, first off, you've got to be able to identify what value really is. Value is one of those terms in business that people use, but they don't really know what it means. They tend to sometimes throw it around like one of the words in their business lexicon. Value is simply defined this way, and this is how I tend to define value. Value is answering two questions. So question number one is, what do your customers gain when they buy your products or hire your services? All right. I'm going to say that again. So value, first off, is answering the question, what do your customers gain when they buy your products or they hire your services? Number two, value, and for me, this is the most significant. Value is answering the question, what do your customers lose if they don't buy from you? Now, until you're able to answer those questions, value is just going to be a concept, right? Many entrepreneurs have never been able to clearly define what their customers lose, particularly because there's literally almost no business that doesn't have a saturated market. You know what I mean? What if you sell water, there are tons of people who sell water. If you sell oil, there's tons. If you sell hair, we got stuff. There's no business that doesn't have competitors. So if they don't buy from you, you've got to answer the question very clearly: what do they lose? And unfortunately, most entrepreneurs don't spend the time to educate themselves to answer these great questions, which is why what you're doing with the Civility Institute is amazing, because you're offering advice and exposure to entrepreneurs and business people around the world to ask themselves some really tough questions. So I think that's pretty amazing. But most entrepreneurs don't go and get an MBA, or you know what I'm saying. Most entrepreneurs have a passion, they have a talent, they have a gift. And they go straight into, they jump right in to serve their market. And unfortunately, they find out that, they jumped in at the deep end. They don't have no training wheels, and they start drowning and realize that entrepreneurship is not as sexy as it sounds. All right.
Absolutely.
Right. So first off, you've got to be able to clearly define what your value proposition is. So what do people lose if they don't hire you? If you sell hair, right? There are tons of other options in the market. So if I don't buy your weave, why should I buy from, I can go to somebody else. So what will I lose if I don't buy your weave? You've got to be able to sit down. And again, if you tie it to answering the first question, which you asked, which is, how do you position your marketing message? Once you are the customer, once you've gotten into the customer's psyche and their mindset, it's a lot easier for you to be able to clearly explain to a customer what she's going to lose if she doesn't buy your hair, right? She's gonna lose. So for example, if somebody doesn't buy hair from you, what does she lose concerning the fact that there are many other options? Well, for example, if you sold your hair as let me give an example. I tell, I say, so you say, oh, look, I don't sell weave. I sell hair that turns heads. That's two different things entirely, right? So the other people are selling weave. You're selling head turning hair. You're going to lose the fact that if you don't buy my hair, people will never take a second look at you each time you pass. That's what you're going to lose. What do people gain? You will gain the fact that if you buy hair from me, every time somebody passes you by, they're going to take a second look. That's what you're going to lose. That's what you're going to gain. But if you're not able to communicate that in a way that is simple and clear, they'll say, my hair is 200 grams. I don't know squat about hair. I'm just giving an example. My hair is 200 grams. This one is Brazilian hair, it's Peruvian hair. That's not competitive leverage. You can buy Peruvian hair anywhere. You can get it in China and India. But the point is, what do you lose? You lose hair that turns heads. You lose the fact that people are going to stop by and take a second look. That's what you're going to lose if you don't buy my hair. And anyone who wants people to take a second look at them, because, for example, if they're not even getting the first look, a second look is like, wow, you know what I'm saying? So it's as simple as that. So you've got to be able to communicate value. And this is the third thing, in a way that is valuable to the customer, right? So your value is not about how great your hair is. It's about how great the hair is to the customer. So it's not about the fact that, oh, your hair is imported from China and it's top quality grade. They don't care about none of that. What they care about is, what does it do for me? And what it does for me is it causes me as a customer to have hair that turns heads, where people always take a second look from me, right? It's a second look at me. And that is value to the customer. So I hope that helps someone.
Absolutely. Yes, that was great. Thank you so much. I am just having, okay, hello, Bonsi from Canada. Thank you so much. Thank you, Sandra from Canada. Thank you so much. It's so good to have you here. Yes, we are having fun here. It's a civilized presence. If you're just joining us for the very first time and you've never been here before, hello, Coach Tinu. Thank you so much for joining us. And let us know where you're joining from. Hello, Lewis. Thank you so much for joining us from South Africa. It is so great to have you here. And we are talking about repositioning yourself or your business for growth. And that's what we're doing this morning. So, Coach Steve, I enjoy all of the contributions that you've been making. And I have another question for you. Ever since the month of September, like I said, we've been working with a lot of entrepreneurs and just really teaching people to be the business. Because a lot of entrepreneurs have always thought that they can disconnect from their business. And of course, that's not working anymore. You have to be your business. You have to, all of your habits and actions and everything that you do on a daily basis has got to be congruent with the goals that you're trying to achieve. You cannot be one thing and expect your business to be another thing. Now, today's customers, of course, don't want the hard sell. They want information and solutions that speak to them and an experience that feels real. Now, how can one position their brand to be able to achieve this? Over to you, Coach Steve.
Well, first off, I totally agree with you that you are your business. Your business is a reflection of your DNA. So for me, as a brand, one of my values is excellence. So with a reflection of excellence, it means getting it right the first time. It means never having to apologize because you came late for a meeting. Therefore, I got to be there, at least an hour early before the meeting. Execution is one of our values. And for us, it means getting things done right again the first time. And that reflects in everything we do as a business. So I'm very, a lot of people say Steve Harris is very ruthless. And again, it's a reflection of who I am. So my business is in the same vein. The people who work with me know that Steve Harris doesn't suffer, quote unquote, fools lightly. If you know what I'm saying, you're going to do the work. There are no excuses. It's my way or you get out of my way. And that's a reflection of how my business runs. So you've got to recognize that as a business owner, you are the brand, you are the DNA of the organization. So you must be able to keep your promises. You must be able to, so to speak, under promise, but you must always over deliver. You must have a certainty, recognize that people buy you before they buy your business. Before people are going to stalk you, they're going to check your pages before they make a buying decision. And it takes, on the average, about 3 to 7 seconds to make an impression, particularly on social media. You're scrolling through, for example, on Instagram, and you see a picture and you like it. It's almost instantaneous. You see a post and you save it, right? So there's a very short window and attention span that people have these days. and you've got to be able to cut through the clutter. And on one of the ways to do that is to be authentic. And that's a skill that I think is dying out, because a lot of people are trying to be somebody else as opposed to being themselves. But of course it's being authentic, but yet civil. It's authentic yet being polite. It's authentic yet being courteous. It's authentic, but yet you're not running roughshod over people to get your point across. So I think many entrepreneurs need to be able to learn how to tell their own stories. They've got to learn how to be authentic to who they are. They've got to learn how to, recognize that getting the first transaction is not good enough. But you've got to be able to build repeat business. And in order to do that, it's recognizing that you have a lifetime value of your customer. If you blow them away, and I tell entrepreneurs this, that if you only get business through referrals, then your marketing sucks. Now that sounds very counterintuitive, because you would assume that if you did a great job, people should refer you. I'm not saying referrals are bad, but I'm saying that what happens if all the people that you've blown their minds decide to keep you as their best kept secret? To say, you know what, for example, so Louisa has great hair, right? She's got a great sense of style. Let's assume that Louisa has a stylist, and Kate, let me use Kate again. And Kate on that Komaya, I'll just call you Kate. And Katie decides, you know what, hey, Louisa, you've got great sense of style. Who's your stylist? And Louisa says, well, I have this lady somewhere, you know what? I says, oh, give me her number. So, okay, yeah, I'll give you her number. And Louisa decides, you know what, I don't want Kate to get styled just like me so that she looks as good as me and as glam as me. You know what, I'm not going to share, right? And what happens is sometimes, if you're not careful as an entrepreneur, you'll become your customer's best kept secret, because they don't want to share you with anyone. Now, what I mean is that if you're only getting businesses through referrals, then your marketing sucks, because you're not. We only get referrals because you've done a good job, right? But now you need a new pool of people who've never heard of you, who are experiencing you for the first time, who are totally enamored by you and love everything you do, and they trust you enough to give you their money, then do business with you, and then they get to refer you, right? So referrals are great, but it's not good enough. So you got to get good referrals, but you got to do great marketing that causes people to beat down your door to say, you know what, how the hell can I, get to do business with you? And I think that's very important.
Thank you so much, Steve. I have a comment from Kate. Says many entrepreneurs need to learn how to tell their own story. That is so important, because if you do not have a message, then you're really not connecting to anyone. And Coach Steve has been able to break that down for us to learn that. Hello, Enor from Virginia. Thank you so much for being here. Hello, Akarite. Alvin, thank you so much for being here. And let me just know where you're joining us from. There are a lot of new people, and I would love to acknowledge you the right way, guys. This session is done for important people like you. You are a VIP. Allow me to treat you as one. Hello, Bang. Thank you so much for joining us. Hello, Derry. Thank you for being here. Thank you. And if you do have a question relating to this topic, please leave it in the comment box below, because we're almost getting to the end of this. And as soon as Coach Steve is done, it might be hard to get him to answer this question. So better leave your comment in the box below right now. This is some great nuggets in the house. Thank you so much, Coach Steve. I have another question for you. Now, a lot of people are in the newbie stage, even though they're entrepreneurs, but they're in the newbie stage. Or some people have been in business for a long time, but have not been doing the right thing. So I always believe that if you have to rebrand, then you're in the newbie stage all over again. Now, what would you say to those people, those entrepreneurs who are in the newbie stage? How should they be able to grow their business and get their business to stand out? Over to you, Coach Steve.
Well, first off, again, you have to be yourself. But also, I also recognize that there's the marketing aspect of what you do. So, give an example. I always tell people that when people zig, you zag, right? When they go this way, make sure you're going this way. And the reason I say that is because, for example, in Nigeria, where I live, many times you get caught up in traffic and you're going home. And rush hour traffic is usually the best time for what you might call, regular individuals who try to sell their wares in traffic. So they sell bottles of Coca-Cola in traffic. They sell, gala, it's a Nigerian delicacy, sausage rolls in traffic. They sell apples in traffic. And every Tom, Dick, and I'm not going to say Harry because my name is Harris. Every Tom, Dick, and Sheila is selling fruit in traffic, or selling gala in traffic, or selling water in traffic. How do you stand out in a market where everybody's selling the same thing and you're trying to reach the same people? And one of the easy ways that I give to answer that question is to say, everybody's selling gala, everybody's selling water. First off, why don't you, so you can decide to become allow me to use the word, naked gala seller or a naked water seller. Now, what do I mean? The moment you see a naked water seller or a naked gala seller, that person is going to get your attention. Now, what I'm trying to sell is not getting naked. What I'm trying to sell is being able to get the attention of your customers. Now, there are a lot of people who are selling gala and water and all whatnot in traffic, but the guy who is naked is the person you're going to notice. Now, whether you buy from that person it's a totally different kettle of fish, but you're going to get that person's attention. He's going to get your attention. And the next day you drive by, you're going to be subconsciously conditioned to look out for the guy who's naked or the girl who's naked selling water. Now, you've got to recognize that you must be able to get the attention of your customers. Attention is a very scarce and limited resource, which is why it takes about 3 or so seconds to make a subconscious decision to like a post on Instagram or like a Facebook message or read something. It's because it's gotten your attention, right? So one of the ways you can get attention is to do the opposite. So for example, instead of saying, hypothetically, let me still use hair as the metaphor, instead of saying, buy Brazilian hair, I would say, this is why Brazilian hair is bad for you. Now, automatically, it's still talking about Brazilian hair, but now you've gotten the person's attention. And the person knows, and the person is asking the question, why is Brazilian hair bad for me? You've got their attention. The next thing they do is they're going to click and find a reason, to understand why you say Brazilian hair is bad. Once you do that, you've gotten their attention. Now, hopefully, once they click, what they see is something that is compelling enough to cause them to say, you know what, you've got my attention, but now I'm interested. Now, unfortunately, many entrepreneurs don't know how to segue that balancing act between getting attention and then keep captivating interest, right? Because it is attention, interest, excitement, and then finally engagements. Those are the 4 sequences in what you might call a regular sales funnel. It is attention, getting their attention. Number 2, it is getting them interested. Next is getting them excited because they feel in your conversation, maybe in your spiel, that you understand their pain points, you understand what they're struggling with. You seem to be able to have the solution. And then engagements, which is where you now give the call to action, where they can now buy from you, right? So unfortunately, many entrepreneurs don't know how to do all those things. So they can get some may get attention, but don't know how to keep interest. Some can keep interest, but they don't know how to get them excited. Some can get excited, but they don't know how to sell them, engage them. Or sometimes you have one of these, building blocks, but you don't have them together. So I think you've got to be able to learn how to, get the attention of people, then keep their interest. And while you keep their interest, you must get them excited because they feel like this person understands what the heck I'm going through, whether it's in selling hair or being, being plus size or, selling, whatever the case may be. They have to feel like this person gets me. And then you must have a compelling call to action that causes them to say, I got to buy this now. I can't wait till tomorrow. Now is the appointed time. I got to buy this right now. So that's what it is.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you. I can see some more people jump on. Yes, hi Ben. Thank you so much for being here. Hi, Yvette. Thank you so much for being here. Hi, Audrey. Thank you so much for being here. Now, if you do have a question, guys, please leave it in the comment box below. We are at the end of this session and you are just joining us. This is the Civilized Presence. We're here every Mondays and Fridays at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. But for the month of October, today is 1st of October. I forgot to say Happy New Month. Now, for the month of October, we've shifted back to 8 a.m. because we're trying to find a better time for our viewers, okay? And I'm so glad that you're here. So just leave a comment in the box below and just let us know where you're joining from. I know majority of us are always here, but there are people who are just joining for the very first time, and it's important that our guest also knows where you're hanging out from and just being part of this great show. So my final question for you, Coach Steve, today would be, how important, because I know I've been hearing you talking about the experience, talking about the message, and of course, the next thing that is important to us as entrepreneurs is building great relationships. It's very important because, of course, the experience, like you already know and have stated, is connected to the relationships that we build. And of course, the relationship leads to whether your clients have a good reputation about you or not, or whether they feel that you're credible or not. So, how important it is for us as entrepreneurs to be civil or to be able to build this great relationship. So, Coach Steve, just before you go, can you just share this with our audience, why it's so important for them to be civil and to build great relationships with whoever that they connect with? And I remember that you talked about first impressions, whether it's in person or in the media or wherever that you find yourself. So over to you, Coach Steve.
Well, relationships are the lifeblood of any business. Over the last, I don't know, over the last 2 years, I've been privileged to work with almost 500 entrepreneurs, help their businesses grow and blah, blah, blah. And I still maintain a great relationship with them till today. So for example, we have a community that we call the MBT Republic. It's Mastering the Business of Your Talents, which is the course that I have. But then we have a republic of all these amazing entrepreneurs that I've been privileged to serve. And for many of them, I've transcended just being a coach for them. You know, this morning I was scrolling through my Instagram and I saw I was tagged in a message by one of my students, as the case may be, who did a shout out, and she was just talking about how amazing I had been with her, because beyond just, even though she had paid me to coach her almost 2 years ago, and she had gotten almost a year ago, and she had started getting some amazing results. She had said that I'd gone far above and beyond that to consistently follow up with her, support her, encourage her, chase her around if I had to. And today she's written a book and she's super stoked about that. And for me, it was very humbling because, for her, I'm not a coach. I'm a father to her. And I have that relationship with many of the people. But my point is, you've got to transcend the transaction to build a relationship, because ultimately these are the people who will, talk about how amazing you are. These are the guys who will swear by every god they possibly can as to your awesomeness. So every business owner, whatever business you're in, you must start thinking about creating community. Either it's a mailing list, either it's in creating live sessions like what Louisa is doing right now. You must be thinking about engaging your community, building the community. So even if people have bought hair from you, right, create a group on WhatsApp or Telegram, for example, and don't just say to them, oh, this hair is for sale, buy this one. This hair is for sale, buy this one. No, you've got to be able to ask them, hey, so you've bought the hair, right? Would anyone like to share, how the hair has helped them? Or would you like to share about how, would you like to share about, how you take care of your hair and blah, blah, blah. And before you know it, all these hair aficionados come together, and it's no longer just about you. But guess what? They can never buy hair from anyone else beyond you, because you've invested so much in them. So civility is very important because relationship building, you can't build relationships unless you're civil. You can't build relationships unless you care. And that's where I believe the roots of real civility is. It's in compassion. It's about care. If you care, you'll be polite. If you care, you'll be respectful. If you care, you will love. But you can't give what you don't have. So it's imperative that you've really got to go beyond the transaction into relationships. I have many of my clients today call me about personal matters with their spouses or their children, and I give advice to them. And I don't even have to charge. I don't even charge them, so to speak. So it's not like, oh, you've So yes, so you've gone through my course. Now you need me. Oh, Steve, can I have a session with you? Okay, pay me $100,000 or $200,000. I don't do that, right? Because I feel like I'm getting way so much more beyond money. I'm getting relationships. I'm getting networks. I'm getting people who can swear that Steve Harris is amazing and will defend my honor to the last. And I think that I'm very lucky, but you've got to care. If you outcare your competitors, you will never be out of business.
That was a powerful statement. And Coach Steve, I was going to let you go, but I can see questions now from the audience. Oh, my goodness. Can we take one question? It says, Coach Steve, how do we build a culture of civility in Nigeria besides training? Because there seems to be a lot of training in Nigeria, yet civility is significantly low. And that's from Success from Florida. He is Nigerian, living in Florida. Over to you, Coach Steve.
So Success, great question. Well, I don't think training is a bad thing. I think the people who train perhaps don't care. So for many people, training is just the fast way to get a quick buck. You know what I mean? So they don't, not to say all, but most people truly don't care. It's a means to an end. So think about it this way. If you've done a training, how many trainings have you encountered where the trainers follow up with you or send you an email afterwards or add you to a mailing list or are improving your knowledge and advising you about this? So it's been 3 months since the training. What have there's no, so to speak, after sales service. When they reach out to you after the training, do they charge you for the process? Or, yes, I'm not saying you can't upsell there. Of course you can. But if somebody's just asking you for simple advice, that's not the point where you say, hey, go to my website and click the link in my bio and pay for a session. No, you got to care first, right? So I think if we had more people who truly cared about the people they were called to serve, that I think that, there'd be a lot more civil.
Great. Thank you. Coach Steve, we're not going to abuse your time because it's a civilized presence. We have to be civil and respect your time. But I do have questions that I'll forward to you. And if you can respond to that, I will post it back to the audience because I know that you're running out of time. And I really appreciate you for being here. I want to say a big thank you again. It's such an honor to have to work with you. And when you do have time again in your busy schedule, please squeeze us in and come in because we enjoyed every bit of it. I'm going to listen to the session again. There was so much nuggets, guys. If you're catching this on a replay, you know what? Let me just warn you. You have to grab your pen and paper, okay? And just write down all of the valuable nuggets that Coach Steve has been able to share with us. Because if you're an entrepreneur, he has been able to give us step-by-steps that you can begin with starting from today. You can begin with that. And I'm sure that if you do follow the steps that he has shared, I believe you'll be able to hit success before the end of the year. At least you might not get to where you're going, but you will not be where you started from. So thank you so much for being here, guys. I really do appreciate you. And I just want to mention, because I have had a lot of messages that our training is finally starting here in Virginia, November the 26th. November the 26th. It's starting here. I'm going to have the link, of course, it's on my website. And we have another training that is coming in Nigeria and also in Dubai. And I'll be sharing all of those contents very soon. And yes, another one that's coming in Ghana as well. So we've come to the top of the hour. We're a little over time, but I really do appreciate your patience. And I'm glad that you were here. And I do hope that you found great contents in what we shared, just like I did. And I'm just going to say thank you again to Coach Steve and have a wonderful day. Bye for now. And for our people in Nigeria, happy independence and have all the fun. Thank you. Bye for now.
Thanks for having me.